D2 Word Life here with Rip Cringe Master Tides.
Uh-huh.
And well, you are the Cringe Master. There ain't no doubt about that.
Explain to me how.
All the cringy ass matches and shows you have me review, plus everything you do on Fortnite. Or should I say on Fortnite?
Huh? Doesn't ring a bell.
What?
Doesn't ring a bell.
Sure it doesn't. Anyway, today we are back with another classic pay-per-view review, as today we are reviewing SummerSlam 2002, but before we get into that, I know WWE had a Saturday night's main event special happen last week on the 18th, so we might as well just talk about that, or at least the results of that, like I mentioned last week. So I'm pretty sure all of you know what happened anyway, but we'll just briefly talk about it anyway. By the way, did you watch Saturday night's main event this past weekend?
Yeah, caught tidbits.
That time of recording, yeah. Well, the results being Fatal Influence defeating Paige and Brie Bella to win the women's tag team titles, that was... I don't necessarily say that result was a shock. I didn't see the team of Paige and Brie Bella lasting, especially when in recent weeks they really weren't doing much with them.
But that's because they want Paige to go on a singles run, and Nikki's going to be coming back.
Honestly, I think it would make more sense to have Brie be a women's tag champion with Nikki anyway, but that's just my opinion.
Well, that's what's going to happen is because Nikki's going to come back and they're going to get their contractually obligated rematch.
Yeah.
And Paige is supposed to be going either after the Intercontinental or the women's title, or both.
Next up, we had Danhausen defeat JD McDumbass with the trash can at ringside in a no disqualification match, which I'm pretty sure was an average Danhausen comedy match. Obviously.
No.
And that was all to set up the freaking match between, or to help build up the match between Danhausen and the trash can at SummerSlam this year. Right?
Yep.
Then we technically had Lyra Valkyria murder Bailey by beating her by TKO. Or technical submission, right?
We had homeless Valkyria.
After refusing to let go of the chokehold, which a lot of people are speculating that this was done to write Bailey off of TV, considering her contract's coming up. And there's rumors going around that Bailey might leave WWE to go to AEW. Those rumors have made the rounds. Whether those are true or not, time will only tell. Right?
Yeah, but I don't see it.
Well, I know her friend Sasha Banks, or Mercedes Moné, works for AEW, so it is possible. Right?
Yeah, but she's doing a bunch of other shit, so.
And of course, in the main event of Saturday's main event last week, CM Punk and Cody Rhodes defeated Gunther and Sami Zayn after Nick Aldis screwed Gunther out of the win, thus ensuring two things. One, it's going to be a one-on-one match between CM Punk and Rhodes for the title for the WWE Championship at SummerSlam.
He didn't screw anyone. Gunther screwed Gunther.
I seen the clip. Nick Aldis got physically involved in the match. But if somebody got physically involved in a Roman Reigns match, giving Reigns the win, you would have been like, they cheated. But as soon as Nick Aldis screws over Gunther, you're like, nothing happened.
Nothing happened. He got pushed.
But in this setup, yeah, but like I said, regardless how you look at it, friggin' the SummerSlam WWE title match is the same with Punk and Rhodes facing off against each other one-on-one. And Gunther's not going to be facing Nick Aldis at SummerSlam in a one-on-one contest.
I don't know if you guys remember who Nick Aldis is, but if you don't know who Nick Aldis is, you guys should remember him as Magnus
from TNA, right?
Yes.
And of course,
with his tag team of British Invasion, Samoa Joe, and Magnus, and then when he joined the new Main Event Mafia.
Yeah, and where does that leave Sami Zayn? He didn't get no
World Elite stable.
Yeah, and where does that leave Sami Zayn? He didn't get his rematch for the WWE Championship that he lost to CM Punk a couple weeks back, but apparently Sami Zayn's going to be facing Finn Balor in a number one contenders match for the WWE title at SummerSlam. So there you go. Right?
Seems about right.
So yeah, anyway, and I guess afterwards Roman Reigns came out, did his little he and Seth Rollins went face to face. Seth Rollins and his NBA guest got beaten up, while Reigns and the other NBA player just posed at the end of the freaking show. I don't know these people's names. I don't care for basketball. Yep. I don't care for basketball, right? Or any sports, to be honest. Right. Just not my cup of tea, you know what I mean? So that was Saturday night's main event last week. I'm pretty sure everyone knows, but we always do the results anyway, if there is one. But anyway, this event, SummerSlam 2002, took place on August 25th, 2002, in Uniondale, New York, at the Nassau Coliseum, with an attendance of 14,797. The commentators for this event was Jim Ross, Jerry Lawler, Taz, and your boy Michael Cole.
Oh, your boy Michael Cole.
You got to realize every single time we do a show and Michael Cole's on commentary, you know I'm going to say your boy Michael Cole.
I know, and it's still your boy.
No, it's your boy. You're the one who was obsessed with his orange singlet. That's why one of your original choices for these original reviews, pay-per-view reviews, when we freaking first started them was Mania 27, because you wanted to see Michael Cole in that orange singlet.
No.
Yeah, you did. You just wanted to see me suffer.
Well, suffer. Yeah, well, the main event was disastrous.
That whole show was disastrous. WrestleMania 27, there was only one good match, and we already know what that is, and, well, I don't want to talk about it again. Right? And of course, the ring announcers for this show was Tony Chimmel and Howard Finkel. More on that freaking segment later. Right? And of course, the shout out to the Sunday Night Heat match that took place before the show, and that was Spike Dudley defeating Steven Richards. We all know your favorite. We all know Steven Richards was your boy, especially when he was in RTC.
Nope.
You know, your favorite stable.
That was your favorite stable.
No, that was your favorite group of all time.
No, that was your favorite group of all time. You even liked the Good Father.
No, that was your favorite incarnation.
Buchanan.
No. You were a big Good Father fan. You said that was your favorite freaking incarnation that the Charles Wright played.
Hell no.
Just for the record, the Godfather went on freaking record saying he hated that gimmick or that character he had to play. Right? And just because friggin' I got my gamer tag name after Bull Buchanan doesn't make him my boy. Fuck off. It wasn't during his Right to Censor days, I can guarantee it. Right?
Yes, it was.
No, it wasn't. But anyway, we get into the show, and there was no hype package for the show that aired on the Netflix version. I don't know if there was on the pay-per-view version back then, but we didn't get no intro video. We just got right into it with the show introduction start. And then the pyro going off, being welcomed to the show by the announce team, and then we get literally into the first match. It was Kurt Angle versus Rey Mysterio. Of course,
Yeah.
Angle made his entrance looking pumped as usual. Ready to go as usual. Rey Mysterio's music started playing, and Rey didn't come down the entranceway. And I believe this was Rey Mysterio's first WWE pay-per-view appearance. Rey Mysterio had competed on pay-per-view prior, but that was for WCW back when that company was still around, so. But, yeah, Mysterio never freaking came out. But then it cut to Rey Mysterio on the ropes, standing on the ring apron, right? Behind Angle. And as soon as Angle turned around, Mysterio took him down with a flying head scissors off the top rope to start off the match, right?
Yep.
Giving the old surprise, motherfucker. Right?
Uh-huh.
And needless to say, these two kind of went back and forth. Angle with the more grounded offense, Mysterio with a high-flying offense. And it seemed like everything Angle was trying to do, Mysterio had an answer to counter it, right?
Yeah. Well, this is also a revenge match for making Angle look like a joke.
Wait, wasn't this around the same time that Kurt Angle cut that infamous promo on SmackDown?
Which one?
You know the one. Where it's like, Mysterio, you're a boy, and wait a minute, what? You know
Yes.
that one. I think it was that infamous promo. Right?
Yes, you're a boy, I'm a man.
And I am a man who, well, you know the promo. I think everyone knows the promo. I'm not going to say that here. Right?
Yes.
And Mysterio did get a pinfall win over Angle in a tag match prior to SummerSlam here on SmackDown, right? From what the ring announcers were saying. At one point, Mysterio did attempt a 619, but Angle ducked and then freaking clotheslined Mysterio out of his boots and went and pretty much dominated Mysterio for a good portion. Right? Of course, Mysterio fought back, executed the senton from the ring onto the floor onto Angle, who was on the outside. Right?
Yeah.
That actually looked impressive, right? Mysterio, at one point near the end match, was able to deliver the 619 and the West Coast pop for a 2 count, right? And of course,
Yeah.
at this point, freaking Mysterio had put Angle up on the top rope, went for a diving, or actually, no, not top rope. We went for a diving Hurricane Rana from the top rope to Angle. Kind of like what happened at the start with the head scissors from the ropes, right?
Yeah, well, Angle also said he was going to break Rey Mysterio's ankle.
Yeah, but but Angle reversed the diving Hurricane Rana attempt by getting out of the way or landing on Mysterio, whatever. Okay, it looked like a miscommunication counter or a botch, whatever. But either way, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter because the end result was the same, with Angle locking Mysterio into the ankle lock, which, despite Rey Mysterio's effort, Mysterio tapped out, giving Angle the win. Your thoughts on this one?
Well, he hit the West Coast pop on him.
Yeah, that's what I mentioned earlier.
He got a 2 count.
Yeah. So, yeah, your thoughts on this one? Was there any other spots that happened in this match that I didn't go over? Angle winning the match by submission to the ankle lock. Your thoughts on this, right?
Mhm. It was decent.
Thought it was a decent way to kick off the show. Got the crowd pumped with Mysterio's high flying ability. You know what's funny? Angle got the freaking win here, but it's ironic that I believe it was 4 years later Mysterio won his first world title from Angle at WrestleMania. This was just the start of their history here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we see Eric Bischoff and Stephanie McMahon in the back. Eric Bischoff, as we know, is your other boy.
Nope.
Yeah, he is. I mean, hell, you kept picking him every time we fought in 2K.
Yeah, but that's because I wanted to beat your ass with Eric Bischoff. It was funny as hell. I also beat your ass with Mr. McMahon and Stephanie McMahon.
I do not recall any of these encounters.
I'm getting a call.
They never existed?
I'm gonna mute myself. I'm getting a call.
Yep. So anyway, after a little exchange between the two general managers and back, we go to the next match, which was Ric Flair against Chris Jericho. These two had a rivalry date going back to, I believe, the Raw prior when Flair destroyed Jericho's Fozzie's band set. And of course, both men made their entrance. They went back and forth. Jericho at one point, Flair at one point chopped Jericho so bad that even Gunther would tell him, dude, you need to lighten up. Right? And another highlight, Jericho put Flair into the figure four, but Flair got to the ropes, but as soon as Flair got to the ropes, he submitted at the same time. Of course, the referee didn't see that. It did not count. And of course, Jericho even took the Flair chop, the Flair bump, and then Flair locked in the figure four on Jericho. Got the submission win. I thought the match was okay for what it was.
It was okay.
Yeah, that's pretty much a brief rundown of what happened in that match that I just delivered myself. Your thoughts on it? Jericho Flair. I don't recall Jericho Flair fighting at SummerSlam, but I guess they did. Right?
Yeah, no, they did because Jericho was talking shit and he attacked Flair, which Flair retaliated and beat the shit out of his band Fozzy.
Oh, yeah.
And Jericho ran away like a little coward.
Oh, yeah. And did you like how I said that? Yeah, at one point Flair chopped Jericho so hard that even Gunther would be like, dude, that's enough. Shit, that's funny.
No, it's more like Flair. Jimmy Fly Snuka would say that's enough.
Oh, there you are. That's funny as hell. Right? But yeah, I thought that was all right. I think Flair and Jericho would have another pay-per-view match the following month at the 2002 Unforgiven event, which we still need to review. But we'll get there when we get there, right?
Uh-huh. We may do it next month because that's when Unforgiven was.
And during the month of September, right?
Well, that's 2 months.
Or 2 months.
I thought it was August.
Well, next month is August, but SummerSlam happens at the start of August, which means pretty much we have the rest of August to do whatever.
Yeah. Well, I thought Unforgiven was in August. That's why I'm like, yeah, we could do that next month or whatever. Don't matter.
I mean,
We don't
I mean,
stay
obviously,
chronological order, anyways.
I mean, obviously, this is our review. This is my channel. When it comes to reviews, we don't really go in a specific order. We just do classic events when we want to, whenever.
Like I said, we don't go in chronological order.
Yeah. For all we know, I mean, we need to start reviewing more Unforgiven events. I know that, but we'll get there when we get there, right? But
well, Unforgiven always changed either August, September.
I remember the
somewhere
first one
around
was
there.
in April. right?
Yeah.
So it's like, whatever. Anyway, I thought the match was okay for what it was. I did like, it's like a highlight of it was after Flair got to the ropes and tapped out, Jericho was yelling at the referee, but right before the ending, Flair decided to be a dick to Jericho's Y2Js
Yeah.
before locking in that figure four. Typical dirtiest player in the game maneuver there. So yeah, I thought it was fine for what it was. Next, we see an underrated gym between Edge and Eddie Guerrero next. And I guarantee you, whoever freaking had the sign in the crowd that said Deport Eddie probably regrets that now. Am I right?
Probably.
Yeah, I bet when they check out, I bet if they watch this back on, freaking Netflix or whoever it is, I bet when they see that, they're like, cringe as shit. Shouldn't have brought that. Right? Knowing what we know. Right? But either way, Eddie Guerrero was the heel, Edge is the face. They were trying to push Edge to be a solo star at this point. They separated Edge from Christian the year prior, and he's been on a I guess, decent solo run at this point, but he wasn't anywhere close to his mega main event persona at this point yet, right?
Yeah.
He was slowly building his way towards that, but it's like this was an underrated gym. The fans were pretty much silent for that, but now it's considered a classic. Great match between the two. For the majority of it, Edge injured his shoulder, and Guerrero was targeting Edge's shoulder, trying to make Edge's shoulder weak so he can't connect with the spear fully, right? It's great strategy when you think about it, right?
Yep.
And a freaking spot that stood out was Edge got the advantage of Guerrero, went for a spear, but Eddie Guerrero reversed it into a drop kick, right?
Yeah, well, Eddie also said that Edge was just basically a sex idol or whatever.
And at one point, Eddie Guerrero was in control, and Guerrero freaking ended up nailing a frog splash on Edge's shoulder. How Edge's shoulder wasn't separated or shattered at this point, we have no idea, right?
Oh, it was separated because he hit the barricade.
Yep. Of course, that wasn't enough to put Edge away. So,
And then freaking Eddie put it back in place after he threw him into the ring post.
Yeah.
Because
Right.
you could see that Edge was complaining about his arm, and then wanted to stop. From what the rumor was saying at the time, that they wanted to stop the match, but Eddie and Edge were like, "No, we're not going to stop the match because of this. We're gonna, Eddie, you're gonna throw me into the ring post and pop it back."
Yep. I think the only way that Edge and Eddie Guerrero would have stopped the match at this point is if freaking Edge's arm accidentally fell off. Obviously, right?
Well, there was people that paid thousands of dollars for it, and they also hyped up the rivalry.
Yep.
And also, it was a much anticipated match of Edge versus up and coming Edge versus
Latino Heat.
Eddie Guerrero.
Yep. But later on in the match, Edge freaking went for execution, but Eddie tried to reverse it, but Edge nailed the execution anyway. And then Edge followed it up with a spear to get the pinfall win. Your thoughts on that?
Not just one spear, he hit two spears.
Yeah. Edge nailed two spears in the match, the second one getting Edge the win over Guerrero. Your thoughts on this one?
It was decent. Was it the end of their rivalry?
No, it
Not
was just the
by
beginning.
far.
Yeah, because Edge and Eddie Guerrero's rivalry, they would have another match against each other at Unforgiven the following month, plus a freaking street fight on SmackDown. which ultimately that street fight's what initially broke Edge's neck, putting him on the shelf for a year. He didn't immediately leave, but we all know what happened, right?
Yeah, but also, does that also sound familiar? What happened after he had to leave again?
What?
Edge's broken neck.
Yes, Edge. I think it was during that street fight or no disqualification match he had with Eddie Guerrero when Edge smacked the back of his neck on the rung of the ladder, kind of cracked it, and it got worse.
Yes, and then I think like 8 years or something later, he freaking had to leave again because of his neck.
Yes, and ironically, he was gone for 9 years after that. Right?
Yes.
Before returning in 2020. Right?
Yes.
But yeah, either way, I thought this first encounter was good. Did they have better matches later?
Also, everyone, Edge's last match is coming up because it's in his hometown of Toronto.
Yeah, I think that's like what AEW's All In show or whatever it is.
It's AEW's and it's his last match. He is officially retiring.
Yeah. Wouldn't be the first time he had to retire, but at least this time he retires on his own terms instead of being forced to do it.
Yes.
And plus, Edge has a Hall of Fame career, Adam Cole, whatever you want to call him, we still call him Edge. He had a Hall of Fame career, several world titles in his career. He has nothing left to prove anyway. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
I mean, yes, AEW could, or yeah, Edge could have won the AEW world title, but in the long run, he doesn't really need it. Right?
Yep.
So yeah, I thought the match was good. Did they have between Edge and Guerrero here? Did they have better matches in the couple months after this? Yes. Right?
Yep.
And then we go to the back. And then we see your boys, the Un-Americans, getting freaking interviewed before their tag title defense.
No, it's your boys, the Un-Americans.
Oh,
plus
come
testicle.
On. Oh, hell no. We all know back then you were a huge testicle or fan of tests.
I know you were.
And we all know you were a Christian fanboy, especially during this time, because it was at WrestleMania a couple months prior that he had that creepy smile.
Oh, I know that you were. You were also a fan of fuck, I forget what his name was.
You mean Lance Storm?
Yes, Lance Storm.
No, Lance Storm was boring. Fan. No, Lance Storm was boring.
You were a Stormy Lance fan.
I'm not discrediting Lance Storm here, okay? He had a great career in ECW, a great career and a somewhat great career in WCW, but his WWE run, yeah, he could have had some more accomplishments under his belt, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not saying Lance Storm was a freaking boring competitor. I only said that to be a joke, right?
Well, the only really highlight of his career was when he was facing Ric Flair for his job.
Yeah. I mean, Lance Storm was a former Intercontinental and Tag Champion in WWE, so there you go, I guess, if you want to call those good accomplishments. All right?
Yeah.
But anyway, it was the tag team champions, the Un-Americans, Christian and Storm, defending against Booker T and Goldust. And the crowd was Bookdust, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and the crowd were freaking red hot for freaking Booker T and Goldust. They wanted Booker T and Goldust to win badly in this one, obviously, right?
Yeah.
And of course, throughout the match, Throughout the match, Christian and Lance Storm double-teamed friggin' Goldust, preventing him from making the tag, and at one point, there was a false tag to Booker T, only for the referee to be like, I didn't see it. You need to go back. Booker, you need to go back on the ring apron. The crowd hated that,
So
but
they
that's
were tearing up Goldust's outfit. You could see that they tore under his armpits.
yeah, but it wouldn't be the first time we've seen Goldust outfit gets freaking disrobed or get screwed up. Remember WrestleMania 12? That was horrible, right?
Yeah.
But eventually, after some more double teaming, Goldust was able to get the hot tag onto Booker T, who pretty much was a house of fire, taking out Storm and Christian, including hitting scissor kick to both of them, respectively. And while this was going on, the referee was distracted, probably with Goldust and the Un-Americans fighting on the outside of the ring, right?
Yeah.
And Booker did the spin-a-rooney, but then your boy Test came in.
I know your boy Test was there.
It's like Test came in, nailed a big boot onto Booker T, knocking Booker T out to allow Christian to to get back in the ring and pin Booker T to retain the tag titles. So yeah, there's always been interferences matches, even back then, buddy. So, your thoughts on this?
It's okay.
It wasn't the best tag match we've ever seen, and the crowd hated the finish. But, yeah. I get that Christian and Storm were the heels going into this, but Tess just coming in and giving Booker T a big boot, knocking him out, that's just blatant interference right there. Right? Making it obvious, Christian and Storm could have used brass knuckles on Booker T or got an illegal advantage by using a weapon in general to end the match. But yeah, nah. Right? That's not what happened. Right?
Yep.
It still would have been a shitty ending, but at least it essentially wouldn't have been a 3-on-2 handicap match. Right?
Yep.
So yeah, it was okay, but the ending felt flat due to the interference, right?
Yeah.
And of course, the Un-Americans the following night on Raw would continue their rivalry with freaking Booker T and Goldust, along with a certain other individual that I'll talk about later, right? If I remember correctly. All right.
Yes.
So, yeah, anyway, the next match on the card was for the Intercontinental Championship. It was between champion Chris Benoit and Rob Van Dam. Now, this one, underrated gem, in my opinion. Right?
Yes, this was for the Intercontinental title, and also if it was going to Raw or remain on SmackDown.
Yeah, considering Rob Van Dam was a Raw superstar, Benoit was a SmackDown superstar. Right?
Yeah, but we all knew that it actually just stayed on SmackDown because Stephanie McMahon would sign Rob Van Dam to SmackDown.
Yeah. If it stayed on SmackDown, yeah. But either way, this match was a great back and forth match. Of course, Benoit was pretty much using his technical ability to counter Van Dam's high flying ability, kind of like what we saw with the Angle and Mysterio match earlier in the night. Right?
Yeah.
Earlier in the show. And every time freaking Benoit would try to apply the crossface on Van Dam would try to freaking escape it, selling the attempt like death. Right?
Yep.
Yeah, this match went back and forth so bad. Van Dam's freaking signature freaking ponytail completely freaking unraveled itself. Right?
Yeah.
One of the rare times we've seen that, because usually it's still intact by the end of a match. Right?
Yeah.
Just a little tidbit right there. But in the end, despite being locked in the crossface, able to get to the ropes, and escape the hold. Van Dam got the advantage when he friggin' put Benoit down with the 5-star frog splash to win the title. In a good friggin' back and forth match. Underrated Jim, in my opinion. I can't describe all the moves, but is there any highlights from this match that stood out to you? I know Benoit nailed several German suplexes on Van Dam and some chops to the chest. Van Dam's chest was lit up like a Christmas tree, right?
Yeah, he also fucking took out RVD's shoulder and arms.
Yeah, trying to weaken him up for that crossface, right?
Yeah, RVD freaking reverse pinfall into the crossface, but since his arm was freaking injured, he couldn't lock it in.
I mean, they told us, with the time they were given, they told the story they told, and Jesus Christ, this match was a highlight for this show.
RVD tried to hit the frog splash and just ate canvas.
At one point, yeah. But yeah, either way, Van Dam winning with a frog splash after a hard-fought battle. Phew. Yeah, I thought it was the right decision. Van Dam legitimately earned this victory and brought the Intercontinental title to Raw, which only lasts on Raw 2 more months following this, and we all know the rivalry of where it died, and we don't need to talk about it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then in the back we seen Eric Bischoff and Stephanie McMahon sitting in the back, watching the result of Van Dam's victory there. And Eric Bischoff was all happy about this, considering Raw had the Intercontinental Championship. And at first, Stephanie McMahon looked annoyed, and then she just started laughing hysterically. Like she was a joker or something. Right?
Yep.
And I'm just like, what the heck? Of course, we'll reveal why she was laughing at the end of this one. Right?
Yeah.
Knowing what we know. Right? So next we get your boy Test coming out once again, this time taking on The Undertaker in a one-on-one encounter. And I know this felt like a random match, it kind of was, but you know, Taker got involved in a feud with the Un-Americans here, and pretty much laid out the shelves of Test. This match was made for SummerSlam, right? And of course, this was just 2 big men slapping man meat, right? And of course, Taker dominated most of the contest. And Taker could usually work another big guy like Test size. We've seen him do it with Diesel, but it didn't feel like that. You know what I mean? Right? Big evil Taker, you know what I mean? And of course, at one point, Test was able to nail a big boot, but got a 2 count out of it, right? And of course, Taker nailed a choke slam on the Test, but then Christian and Lance Storm interfered in the match. More interference. Taker sent them both packing with choke slams, and Taker was able to nail a tombstone pile driver on the Test, making him from 6'6" to 6'1".
No, it wasn't even that. Fucking Taker was going for the last ride. Well, Taker was working on a Test's arm to do old school. Then he freaking threw the referee into the ropes, which you could say he was a dick to his dead mans. Yes. Or his badasses.
The badasses, right?
And then he hit him with the freaking All-American choke slam is what JR called it.
Yeah.
Freaking he went to hit the last ride. And who comes out? Lance Storm. And what does Lance Storm do? He runs into the ring, and then what happens? he gets flung into a freaking hip toss, and I mean flung. That fucker is launched.
Yes.
And then Christian just looks at him, and I was like, oh, you guys want me to run into that?
Yeah.
Okay. Freaking, then he gets freaking choke slammed out of his boots with Lance Storm because Lance Storm gets up, tries to attack Taker again, and freaking Taker just freaking picks him up and goes,
Nope.
eh.
Right.
And just choke slams him out of his damn boots. And Test comes running in from the outside and hits the big boot. Only gets a 2 count.
Yeah.
And freaking Taker just picks him up and hits him with a choke slam. Picks him up again and then takes him from 6'6" to 6'1" with a freaking tombstone.
Pretty much signifying that Test's neck got jammed up 5 inches inward.
Yes.
Well, Taker won the match. Oh, and just for the record, Taker never lost his bandana in this match either.
Nope.
That bitch stayed in place this time for a whole match. Right?
Yeah.
And
well, Taker meant business because because fucking the Un-Americans, Edge, Christian, Storm, and Test were interfering in his matches. Then they interfered again in the 6-man tag.
Yep.
That they had. Then Test interfered again the next night on Raw when Booker T and Goldust were going for the tag titles in a rematch from their SummerSlam, and then Taker comes out.
Yeah, and of course that was the last. That was the last. Of course, your thoughts on this match first before I go into detail with that feud.
It was a good match.
It was an okay match. It wasn't the best Taker match I've seen, but it was all right for what it was. But like you said, Test interfered in a tag title match. I believe that happened the next night Raw. Like you said, Taker interfered, but it was after SummerSlam that Taker was like, you know what? I'm just going to sign with Stephanie McMahon and be a SmackDown competitor, right? While the other Americans were on Raw. So, since they wanted I believe a 6-man tag or a 8-man tag at SummerSlam, or not SummerSlam, Unforgiven. What happened? Well, I believe it was 2 weeks after SummerSlam, Test came out. Test came out with a freaking flamethrower and was like, or a torch, and was like, I'm gonna burn the American flag. And then who made his return? Taker's brother did. Coming back from his bicep injury at this point, right?
No, Kane and Taker don't play with that shit.
So Kane freaking returned, took out Test, setting up I believe a 6-man or an 8-man tag where he teamed with friggin' Booker T and Goldust and one other partner. I forget who it was. I'm too lazy to do my research against all 4 members of the Un-Americans, the 4th one being Regal. Right?
It was Taker.
No, Taker went on to face Brock at Unforgiven in 02 for the title. Spoilers to the main event, as if we already didn't know what happened. Alright? In their first outing before their Hell in a Cell outing. Right?
Yeah, well, still, it was, because it was, well, before Taker left, they had a 6-man match, which was Taker and Booker T, because this was on a pay-per-view. Taker, Booker T, and Goldust versus Test, Storm, and Christian.
Yeah, but either way,
because they tried to, Test tried to destroy his bike, and he got pissed.
Yeah, but either way, Taker got the win here. The match was okay for what it was. Now, as you notice, with some of these matches, they felt like 10 minutes or less. Or maybe a little over 10 minutes. There's a reason for it. And that's because this next match felt like over a half hour long in length.
The fucking semi-main?
The semi-main event of the evening here, which was the non-sanctioned match between...
Well, we got a story that behind this. It was because in '97, Shawn Michaels had broke his back.
Well, 98, Michaels broke his back, but either way, it was a broken back.
Well, in '97, he broke his back. He had his back. No, he broke his back in '97. He shattered it in
98 with that
98
casket match with Taker, right? Was able to compete at WrestleMania 14 against Austin, dropping the title there, though he wasn't anywhere near 100%.
No, he tweaked his back in '97, cracked his back in '98, and then towards the end of '98, towards the beginning of '98, because it was towards the end of '97 is when he had that casket match with Taker, which cracked his back. Literally cracked it. They were worried about it, which they didn't have him wrestle until Mania of '98, when he was facing Stone Cold for the title, his back completely went out.
Yeah, especially seeing Austin whip Michaels into that turnbuckle. We reviewed that match, and even that was cringe, knowing what we know, right?
Yes, and that was the point where they literally told Michaels, because they had Mr. McMahon on the headset as well, saying that they needed to end the match quick because they were not going to push it as far as Michaels wanted it to, because they knew that they needed to get medical out there immediately when he just freaking face planted.
Yeah, and then Michaels would ultimately drop the title to Austin at WrestleMania 14, and then after that, he was done. He had to have back surgery and was retired for 4 years. Michaels would come back in 2002, but as a manager for the WWE version of NWO, only for that group to disband after Nash got injured about a month prior. A little over a month prior, right?
Yeah.
And then they were like, okay, let's pair Michaels up with Triple H. But then Triple H turned on Michaels, thus ending everyone's hopes at a DX reunion in 2002. Right?
I mean, what was that, a DX reunion that Triple H turned his back on him?
Yeah, and then freaking Triple H attacked Michaels in the parking lot, smashing his head through a car glass window. Right?
And he was saying, "Oh, Shawn, whoever," because he was making it like, "Oh, he's never gonna know it was me," which Shawn Michaels already knew it was him. He was just stringing him along. He's like, "Oh yeah, whoever attacked you is a dead man because I'm gonna go after him," and then he's like,
It's like,
show the video, and then they enhanced it, and it was who else? Triple H.
Be like, hey, Triple H, you said whoever did this is a dead man, so you better be hunting yourself, right?
Yes,
basically, right? And pretty much just motivated. And Michael said he'd be 100% by SummerSlam.
Because it's like, oh, my doctors say I'm not 100%, but they also say, oh, I'll be 100% by let's say by the time of SummerSlam.
Yeah.
Then they freaking we're going back and forth because Michaels would come back, not really wrestle. He'd just come back and interfere in Triple H's matches and attack him to get the advantage. And then WWE didn't want this match. The wrestling community didn't. They wanted it, but the wrestling management didn't want to have it on their hands of Michaels getting even more hurt. So what does Triple H and Shawn Michaels do? They want an unsanctioned street fight.
Which meant if any injuries happen, WWE's not responsible for anything.
Yes.
As if the match didn't even happen. Right.
Because Triple H went to Shawn, he's like, oh, this I can't wait for my match. He's like, oh, you're not having the match. I'm gonna say that the match isn't really official. He's like, oh, but it is going to happen.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, this was Shawn Michaels' first match since first WWE match since WrestleMania 14, coming back from back injury, right?
Yeah,
as well. Even though WWE's like, this match never happened, it technically did, right? So Michaels came out first to a thunderous ovation. First, of course, Michaels wasn't wearing his traditional freaking wrestling tights here. He was wearing a shirt and jeans.
Well, he wasn't wearing his traditional wrestling gear at all. He didn't wear his wrestling boots. He was wearing cowboy boots.
He was wearing cowboy boots, the blue jeans, the freaking belt with the freaking Texas State belt buckle he always wore at that point. All right.
Yeah.
Pretty much his street clothes is what he was wearing for this unsanctioned street fight, which makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Then Triple H came out, thunder of booze, and the fans hated Triple H then. Oh, they were just around the corner for what would be known as the Reign of Terror, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, Triple H was wearing his regular wrestling attire. I'm like, yeah. Missed opportunity for Triple H to just wear freaking clothes as well. That would have fit the theme real quick, right?
Yeah.
Because that's not how it would be in a real fight with you and your former friend. It's not like you're like sitting there being like, yeah, I'm ready to go. I'm in my street clothes. Let's do it out right here. And your friend be like, no. First, let me go put on my wrestling attire. What the fuck? Which is essentially coming out in your underwear. Right?
Yep.
You'd be like, huh? You'd be like, you make no sense, but okay, let's roll with it. Right? But anyway, Michaels started out his match pretty aggressively, but Triple H got the freaking advantage, performing backbreakers on Michaels, and this was after Michaels hit a freaking plancha, right?
Yeah.
And there was plenty of weapon spots, including freaking Michaels getting hit in the back with a steel chair. Michaels got busted open at one point, right?
Michaels grabbing a Dominic Mysterio.
Nailing Triple H in the head with a trash can, right?
Denting Dominic.
Yep. Freaking at one point, freaking.
Is that why Dominic is so screwed up?
It's because of shit like this, right?
He also took Dominic's lid and smacked Triple H with it multiple times.
Yeah, and I think freaking Triple H got busted open. I think he got busted open with a chair shot to the head, right?
It wasn't just a chair, it was a sweet chin music chair shot.
Yeah, Triple H had the chair in his hand. Michael super kicked freaking the chair into Triple H's head, busting him open, right?
Badly. Yeah, and Earl Hebner freaking stopped Triple H from grabbing the sledgehammer.
Which makes no sense. I'm like, if it's unsanctioned, why is the referee even stopping the sledgehammer from being used, right?
Well, that's because he knew what was going on with Shawn Michaels, and he didn't want to have that on his conscience. Him being the referee that let Triple H handicap him.
Yeah, and at one point a table was set up. Freaking Michaels freaking executed a splash onto Triple H from the top rope to the table on the outside, right?
There was more than one table.
Yep.
There was two tables because there was one table and it wasn't a splash. He jumped off the freaking ladder.
Yeah, the next one was the ladder freaking elbow drop, right?
Yes.
Where Michaels dove from the top of the ladder with an elbow drop to Triple H. The same maneuver he would use on Mr. McMahon 4 years later. If you wanna know the spot I'm actually talking about, right? But then near the end of the match, it was a brutal, battered, bloody affair. You were screaming there, "We need more violence!" Right?
Yes. It needed more violence. I needed sustenance.
Yep. I mean, it was a pretty violent match, the match of the night, in my opinion. Here, Michaels went for the sweet chin music near the end, which Triple H countered into a pedigree attempt, but Michaels countered that with a jackknife roll up to get the 3 count and the win here. Your thoughts on it, right?
Well, Shawn Michaels would also javelin the freaking ladder into Triple H's face, which busted him up even more.
Yep.
And then he would monkey flip him into the ladder, which got him even more. Then he would hit the freaking leg drop off of the ladder onto the table. Then he oh, you think he was done with that ladder? No. He pushed the ladder back into the ring, pushed Triple H into the ring, set up the ladder, climbed all the way to the top, and then hit the freaking elbow to the heart.
Yep. But yeah, your thoughts with Michaels winning with the most devastating maneuver in all sports entertainment, basically a version of the roll-up here, at the end of a hard-fought war.
It was good. Michaels needed the win to solidify his comeback.
Yeah, but right when Michaels was celebrating his win here, what does Triple H, the sore loser, do? He takes a sledgehammer and nails Michaels in the back with it.
Yes.
And when Michaels was down on his knees, freaking Triple H took the sledgehammer and cracked Shawn's spine with it. Before walking out to a chorus of boos, looking all evil with a bloody smile on his face. Right?
Yep.
And this resulted in Shawn Michaels being stretchered out and being written off of TV for a couple months. Right? Of course, Michaels would return a couple weeks after No Mercy and was added to the first ever Elimination Chamber match, which Michaels would go on to win. Right?
Yep.
So yeah, anyway, I thought this match was arguably to me the match of the night. If there was only one match I would recommend from the show, it would be the unsanctioned match between Triple H and Michaels. Right? And so yeah, anyway. Next we go to the main event for the WWE Championship. Oh crap, I just remembered. There was a cringe segment we have to talk about beforehand.
Yeah, I am sorry, buddy, but we have to step back a few minutes.
You can't just let me talk about the main event and pretend like that cringe segment never happened, can you?
No.
Fine, I'll let you talk about it.
I
I don't want anything to do with this cringe.
You picked it.
Yeah, what happened? It involves the ring announcers. What the hell happened here?
Howard Fink came out, was congratulating the audience and saying how many people were there, and saying, "Oh, even though baseball was going on strike, you always have the Fink."
Of course, a booze
It's
there.
called commitment.
I'm just thinking to myself, yeah, you're losing the audience here. Right?
Then Trish Stratus comes out and she's like, "Oh, I never knew how sexy your voice was."
Don't you say it. Don't you say the line that Howard Finkel said.
He's like, "Yeah, you have the puppies, but I have the wiener."
That's it. I'm done. I am officially retiring from these reviews. This is cringe as fuck. Wait, what? My contract says I have to stay. I have to be committed? Fuck.
Yes.
Ah, shit. Looks like I gotta show commitment and stay here. God damn it. Cringy as hell.
And then Lillian Garcia gets into the ring from off the side, and she's like, "Oh yeah, by the way, Lillian Garcia is the," and then Lillian Garcia hits him in his sphinx.
So Lillian Garcia was a dick to Howard Sphinx, and I couldn't even be happier.
She was a dick to her sweeter.
God damn it! Why? No one needs to talk about that. That's cringe as fuck. Seeing that segment, I was sitting here face palming, cringing as shit. I'm like, oh god. And it was at that point I knew you were gonna make me talk about it.
Yep.
Yeah, and it was afterwards Tony Chimmel came out to freaking do the announcing for the main event.
Yeah, because Howard Fink was
Howard
down
Finker.
with the
Who the hell is Howard Finker?
That's Howard Finker.
God damn it. No one needs that. I don't need that vision. That's cringy as hell.
He was down with the Finker.
We all know you were. Ugh.
I know you were.
So anyway, we go on to the main event, which for the WWE Undisputed Championship, the last time it would be known as the WWE Undisputed Championship. I'll explain why after the match. It was The Rock taking on Brock Lesnar. Then this is the reason why I wanted to review this SummerSlam, especially after that little cringe interview from last week's show that you made us review, Rock and Brock.
Yes.
And this was one that made you go, son of a no, right? Why?
No.
But anyway, before the match started, we see the video package hyping of the match, including The Rock and Brock Lesnar's workout regimens to get ready for the match. And this was Brock Lesnar's first. This was Brock Lesnar's first pay-per-view main event that he earned by winning the 2002 King of the Ring tournament, which is something they should have always done, but at least they do that now, where the winner of the King of the Ring gets a WWE Championship match at SummerSlam. Unless, of course, your name is Obafemi, who made his claim null and void, right?
Yeah.
Which I know a lot of people are ticked off about here on the side note, but honestly, I'm looking forward to that Hell in a Cell with Brock Lesnar and Obafemi at this year's SummerSlam. At time of recording,
we're gonna give our predictions after this.
Yeah, we'll be doing our predictions next week, because literally SummerSlam happens next weekend at time of recording. So it'll be we'll do our predictions at the end of the next classic pay-per-view, the one that you get to pick for next week. What a treat!
Yeah.
I'm already freaking dreading it when you announce what it is. Right? So anyway, Brock Lesnar came out accompanied by Paul Heyman, and then The Rock came out, made his entrance next, but he didn't freaking walk down the ring with aisle. He just freaking kind of did his little like pre-match freaking jumping around warm up at the entrance ramp before running down to the ring, leaving the title up there on the staging area before getting into the ring to start the match off with Brock. And this wasn't like dominating monster heel Brock that we see now. This was freaking Brock. This was the rookie Brock Lesnar, who was known as the next big thing back then, right?
Yep.
And of course, Brock dominated early, taking The Rock down with his usual power moves like clotheslines, freaking power bombs, all that stuff. But Rock fought back, and there was a lot of interference by Paul Heyman here, right?
Yeah.
Whether the two were fighting on the outside of the ring or inside the ring, right?
Yep.
But a little later in the matchup here, Rock went for the sharpshooter, which let's face it, The Rock's sharpshooters look awful. Bret Hart was correct on that assessment. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, hell, and it was during The Rock's freaking sharpshooter, which Lesnar didn't even look like he was anywhere close to happen. Paul Heyman got involved, and he went to it. Yeah, and he was attacked off by The Rock, and then at one point when The Rock was going after Heyman, even Heyman was like, "Oh shit!" Right?
Yeah.
As we know, but eventually Rock was able to freaking execute the Rock bottom onto Paul Heyman through the announce table. Right?
Yeah, because he fucking flung his ass in there from the top rope.
Yeah.
And all you could hear is, "Foot!" And he's like,
Right. Anyway, back
when Rock hit Heyman with the Rock bottom, Brock comes in and spears him in the freaking ribs.
Yes. And of course, Lesnar was in control temporarily after the Rock bottom to the table, but Rock freaking fought off Lesnar back shortly. Rock nailed the Rock bottom onto Brock Lesnar at one point.
Yeah.
Got a 2 count, but the Rock was like, you know what? I'm going to go for a people's elbow. But Brock Lesnar stopped that by getting up and nailing a Rock bottom of his own. But then the Rock got back up afterwards. Lesnar went for an F5. The Rock reversed
it into a
Rock bottom attempt.
Rock bottom
attempt, but Lesnar reversed it into the F5. And afterwards, Brock pinned The Rock to win the title. His first WWE Championship. His first of many world titles, if we're being honest. And in the process, becoming the youngest WWE Champion in history at the age of 25.
Yep.
And I know a lot of people say that, no, Orton is the youngest world champion. I'm like, yeah, for the World Heavyweight title, not the WWE Championship. Those are 2 different world titles. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Orton became the youngest world champion 2 years later at the age of 24, but that was for the big gold belt, not the WWE title. All right.
Well, that's because the WWE title was then just a SmackDown title, so they had to bring in the big gold belt from WCW and make it the World Heavyweight title.
Yeah, but I was about to get into that afterwards. Your thoughts on this main event with Brock Lesnar winning his first world championship from The Rock? First of many.
It was impressive.
Yeah, and this actually created a friggin' big main event star in the company. And the thing about it is, like, despite coming in as a heel, pretty much most, if not all, the New York crowd was cheering for Brock Lesnar. While The Rock, who was the big face of the company, was being booed out of the building by most of the crowd, considering everyone knew The Rock was just going to leave for Hollywood after SummerSlam. Anyway. Which, in turn, kind of made The Rock look annoyed throughout the match, and yeah, when he would return as Hollywood Rock the following year.
Yeah, when he went to help Mick Foley.
But anyway, I thought the match was okay for what it was, and what was the fallout from this? Well, we found out, I believe, on Raw the next night, the reason why Stephanie McMahon was laughing like the Joker in that backstage segment after Van Dam won the Intercontinental title is that she exclusively signed Brock Lesnar to a SmackDown deal, which meant the Undisputed Championship was now the property of SmackDown, a SmackDown title only, which left Raw without a world champion. So, what would Eric Bischoff do in response the following week? Well, as you mentioned, he would bring back the big gold belt, which was the WCW Championship, rename it the World Heavyweight title, and pretty much just give it to Triple H. Thus, the Reign of Terror started. and because of that, the Undisputed title was just simply renamed the WWE Championship at that point on SmackDown.
Yep.
Considering the title was no longer disputed, considering there was 2 world titles again. All right?
Yep.
And the rest was history from that point onward. Right?
Yep.
And the only reason Triple H was awarded became the inaugural World Heavyweight Champion in WWE at this point was because he won a number one contenders match for the undisputed title, and that's when the whole Stephanie McMahon signing Brock Lesnar only to SmackDown shit happened when Triple H was a Raw guy, right?
Yep.
And then what would happen? The Undertaker would follow suit, be signed to SmackDown, and start his iconic feud with Brock Lesnar in 2002 at that point, which resulted in a Hell in a Cell match at No Mercy, which is one of my all-time favorites. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So yeah, that was the outcome of that. So now we go to what I call is our favorite portion of the review, and that's our review system and final grade. Kurt Angle defeating Rey Mysterio. I gave that one 3 3/4 out of 5. What would your grade be on that?
I had 3.5.
Yeah, for some reason OBS didn't pick it up, but oh well. First time. Ric Flair defeating Chris Jericho. I gave that one 3 1/4 out of 5.
4.
Edge defeating Eddie Guerrero. I gave that one 3.5 out of 5.
Three and 3/8.
Okay. The Un-Americans, Lance Storm and Christian defeating Booker T and Goldust to retain the tag team titles. I gave that one 3 out of 5. Not 3.5, just 3 out of 5. It felt average. Due to the interference.
2.
You're like 2. Why is that? We know Christian and Storm were your boys.
Nope.
Rob Van Dam defeating Chris Benoit to win the Intercontinental Championship. I gave that one a good solid 4 out of 5.
4.5.
Undertaker defeating your boy Test. I gave that one 3.5 out of 5.
4.
Shawn Michaels defeating Triple H in that non-sanctioned match. Easy 5 out of 5.
Yeah. 5 out of 5.
And of course, the main event, which saw Brock Lesnar defeat The Rock to win the Undisputed Championship. I gave that one 4 3/4 out of 5.
It was a 5 for me.
Yep. So my personal final grade for SummerSlam 2002 is a solid B+.
We have to rate the segment.
I'm not rating the segment because it wasn't even a match. But if you force me to, that segment with the Howard Finkel segment is a 0.
4. Just to piss you off.
You would, and say we don't even rate segments, so you have to bring that up.
Just to piss you off.
Well, either way, my final grade is still a solid B+ for this show.
B.
And if I had to recommend 1 or 2 matches, obviously people are probably going to be like Rock and Brock, but the 2 I would recommend would be. Okay, I would recommend 3 matches here. If you can watch a Chris Benoit match, fine. If not, that's fine. But a match I would recommend would be the Benoit and Van Dam match. That was actually a masterpiece. And obviously, I would recommend the unsanctioned match between Triple H and Michaels, and of course, the undisputed title match between The Rock and Brock. You can watch those 3 matches and be satisfied.
Taker versus Test, the unsanctioned, and the
main event.
No. The Benoit versus Van Dam match. The main event, you could just. It was decent, but you could see that the outcome was inevitable.
Yeah, with Brock Lesnar being the next big star and The Rock going to Hollywood. This was basically a passing the torch match. Which there ain't nothing wrong with it. They told the story they needed to tell. And it was decent enough. Right?
Yep.
So yeah, the main event was basically The Rock and Attitude Era star passing the torch to a ruthless aggression big star in Brock Lesnar. Right? The next generation, basically, but that doesn't mean it wasn't a bad match. It was a decent scrap, a good match. I mean, I gave it a high rating for a reason.
Yeah.
With a 4 3/4 grade, because if it was crap, I would have rated it as so, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
Right? So yeah. Anyway, that's our thoughts. That's our thoughts and final grade on SummerSlam 2002, and oh my god. Oh my god, I hate to ask, but next week is your pick for what we're going to be watching for the Classic Pay-Per-View review, and it'll be the last Classic Pay-Per-View review before SummerSlam 2026, the two-night show, so we get 2 reviews of that, right?
Yes.
So that means by next week's upload schedule, I'm going to be uploading the your next pick for the Class Pay review on the Friday before night 1 of SummerSlam. But
Yep.
But I hate to ask, what is your pick for next week? I am already regretting it already.
It's another SummerSlam.
Oh god, I can shudder to think. Because we barely cracked the surface when it came to SummerSlam shows.
Yeah, it's SummerSlam 07.
Oh god, wait, oh god, Jesus.
We have Cena versus Randy Orton for the WWE title. Triple H versus King Booker.
Oh god,
Batista versus the Great Khali.
No one wanted to see that match.
Oh, we all know that you wanted to see that match. John Morrison versus CM Punk.
For the ECW title. Oh yeah, we have
Rey Mysterio versus Chavo Guerrero.
I believe this was Rey Mysterio's comeback after the knee injury.
Yeah,
wait a minute. Whoa, wait a minute. SummerSlam 07. Wasn't this the one where freaking Rey Mysterio came out looking like the Silver Surfer, but he looked like something else?
Yes.
You're making me watch that cringe.
Then we have the Intercontinental title triple threat match. Umaga versus Mr. Kennedy versus Carlito.
And that is an interesting concept, because at the time, weren't all 3 of them heels?
Then we have the Divas Battle Royal, where the winner of the Battle Royal will get an opportunity at the women's opportunity for a shot at the women's championship.
Okay, I know SummerSlam. And then we have Kane versus Finlay in a singles match.
Yes.
Okay, I know SummerSlam 07 is not everyone's favorite SummerSlam, but it's most notable for the return of Triple H from injury, the return of Rey Mysterio from injury, and of course the first one-on-one pay-per-view meeting between John Cena and Randy Orton. And after this, they would fight each other on pay-per-view 11 more times.
Well, we would also have, for the Saturday night main event, CM Punk and Boogeyman versus John Morrison and Big Daddy V.
Wait a minute, there was a Saturday night's main event that took place before this?
Yes.
Oh, fuck. You're gonna make me watch, you're gonna make me talk about the results of that one, aren't you, as well?
It's CM Punk and Boogeyman versus John Morrison and Big Daddy V.
Wait a minute. Heh. Oh, wait a minute. This also was. Oh, yeah. SummerSlam 07. We also had MVP versus Steve Austin in a beer drinking contest.
Yes.
Ah, Jesus Christ. Right? And Steve Austin replaced Matt Hardy, who declined the challenge. Jesus. This is going to be interesting. Right?
Also, on the Friday night before this was the Punjabi celebration.
Oh, no one wants to talk about this. I can guarantee.
And the Raw and the WWE Idol, which was the Monday prior to this.
Oh, God. Oh, God. Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. You're going to make me watch a Great Khali World title match? Those matches were shit. I'm sorry. He may be a Hall of Famer. He may have been, 7'4" or 7'5". He was a big, intimidating figure, but put it like this. The Great Khali being the world champion in 2007 would have been the equivalent of Giant Gonzalez being world champion in 93. Thank God that didn't happen. Oh, God. Can you imagine can you imagine how slow a match would have been between Great Khali and the Giant Gonzalez? It would have been crap all over it. Of course, it was Backlash 2008 that we had Big Show versus the Great Khali, and that was the closest thing we got to that. So there you go, right?
Yeah, well, we had Triple H versus King Booker.
Yeah, and that match...
For the King of Kings!
Yeah, that match was notable for two reasons. One, it was Triple H's return from his second quad injury, right?
Yes.
And two, I believe this was King Booker's final WWE pay-per-view match before leaving to go to TNA at that point. Because if I remember correctly, he and Sharmell would leave WWE shortly afterwards. Right?
Yeah.
Before they made their TNA debuts, which Booker would not be seen on WWE television again until 2012? Or 2011. Yeah, it was 2011. Yeah. Because Booker made his return at the Rumble of 2011 before being a part-timer and then eventually just being a commentator and trainer at the end of his career. Right?
Yes, and then we have John Morrison and CM Punk in that rematch.
Yeah, the rematch of the rematch. Considering they fought each other at Vengeance Night of Champions and at the Great American Bash the month prior to this. Right?
Yes.
And this was their third outing, and I believe they would have a fourth outing with the stipulation being if Punk loses, he can no longer challenge Morrison for the title.
As long as Morrison had the title.
Yeah. But we'll talk about that result when we're talking about that one. After we talk about that one. So, yeah. Next week.
Yes.
Yeah, and you get to make me watch the main event of SummerSlam 07, which was John Cena and Randy Orton's first one-on-one contest pay-per-view outing for the W title. Their first of 50, 11 times over their careers.
Yes.
Over their careers, yes. Well, it makes sense to review their first encounter. We reviewed their final encounter against each other last year. Might as well review their first one now. Am I right?
Yes.
So anyway, next week we get to review SummerSlam 2007. Lord help me with this one. And so until then...
Do you remember the 07 segment?
I don't want to remember the 07 segment. Was it cringe? Well, I guess I'm going to find out next week when I watch it then, huh? So, yeah, until then, we will talk to y'all later. Peace.
Deuces.